is here, but her microphone is off. I'm not sure what that's all about. But we have the chair, we have Mayor Johnson, um, we have Rebecca Wolf, John Cody, Richard Wallace. Uh, do we have Heather Campbell? Heather? And do we have um, Cheryl, the assessor? We have a quorum, Madam Chair, but we don't have Heather or Cheryl, and Chris Shale is on vacation.
So this meeting will start as an informative meeting. Whoever has the train, please mute yourself. Okay, we will begin with the IDA Hudson meeting. The time is 1:01. Lisa, when you are available, please let us know. Um, we are missing two members and our attorney. The purpose of today's meeting is for information. We will not be voting on anything today. Um, and we have some updates that were sent to us. I hope everyone had a chance to overlook them, and we can move forward with the presentation and questions afterwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Mike Tucker. This morning or this afternoon, we have Joe Scott from Hudson Russ and David Kessler, the proposed developer for the 620 Union Street Hotel. I also had sent to you all this morning after I received it the information that Hudson Development Corporation sent out based on their call yesterday, where they had provided some significant data and information relating to tourism activity in the city, some of which is relevant to what David and Joe have included in their materials, and we can review that after the presentation. As you know, this project has been on our docket for quite a while. We have been waiting for the planning board and other city agencies to continue their review of the project. We've asked Mr. Kessler to update you on those activities, as well as walk us through the pilot proposal that he sent us last night. And as the chair has mentioned, this is for information only. Certainly questions are appropriate, but also after this is done, we will take the information and run the cost-benefit analysis for the IDA to review, and then you can have further discussion as to what your plan is with respect to moving this project forward. Chris Shale did ask if we needed her on today's call, but since it's being recorded and she's on vacation, and because we weren't going to be taking a vote, I suggested she stay on vacation, because
Yes.
as we all know, none of us get away enough without interruption. So,
And one minute, Mike, if I may. And
yes,
if keeping that in mind, if anyone has any legal questions during this meeting, please keep a note of it. So when we have our next IDA meeting and she is available, we can give it to her all together.
And I do understand that Heather Campbell is here, but Heather, I'm not sure we can hear you. She says she can hear us. Waldo, do you know how we would?
Her mic is muted.
It looks like three people. Do I, Okay. Someday we'll all be able to meet back in person, I hope. Um, with that, Madam Chair, if we, with your permission, we'll let Mr. Kessler begin the presentation.
Yes, please, Mr. Kessler.
Thank you. David, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for your time this afternoon. I just wanted to start by giving you a quick update on where we are with the various agencies. We presented to HPC, and they issued a memo approving the overall design, massing, and scale of the project. We intend to go back to them once we've selected our construction materials to obtain a certificate of appropriateness. Regarding city planning, we are attending the city planning meeting this evening, which, oh, by the way, and we also have already completed the public comment phase of the HPC process. We're going to city planning this evening, and we'll be addressing the final potential comments and concerns of that were raised during the public comment over the past month. We've already addressed all of the questions, comments, and concerns of the city planning board members. We're addressing the final comments from that came up during the public comment this evening, and we hope that city planning will close the public comment vote on the site plan approval. And we hope that'll happen tonight, but if not tonight, then hopefully at the next meeting. We put together a proposal for the IDA in writing. I apologize that we didn't get it to you sooner. It took some time. You know, we couldn't really start that until after we obtained the appraisal that the IDA commissioned and analyzed, you know, economic impacts of the project. And that took us some time. So I apologize for not getting it to you sooner. But I'd like to hand it off to Joe, who will walk you through the high points of the proposal.
I saw a moment ago that Joe had 3 dots next to his name, which meant his microphone was on, but now it appears that it's got a red X across it again. Joe, are you there?
I dialed into the conference call. Should I try to patch him in?
Yeah, but if you can.
Okay, hold on one second.
Is that right?
He's trying to call in.
Is there a different way to connect him in?
That's what he's trying, Tiffany. He's
Uh, share screen or something with someone?
Joe, are you there?
Joe Scott here.
Hi, Joe. We're patching you in because we can't get your mic to work, although I just see it went live. So
Can you hear me?
we can if you speak up.
No, I mean, I see my picture up in the upper right-hand corner of my screen.
We can
And
hear
I have
you now.
a screen,
So, yeah, we can hear you
but
now.
you can hear me through the phone, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. And sorry, David, we're at the point where you want me to talk briefly about the proposal that we submitted to Michael, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So thank you, David, and I apologize for the technological issues that we're having here apparently. Just incidentally, I haven't had any issues with anything other than Google. Google I've had some trouble with over the past couple of months, but Zoom and WebEx and other media has been seamless, actually. It's been terrific. But with that as background, again, as Michael indicated, the purpose of our presentation today is simply to highlight several points and concepts that we have in our proposal. We recognize that the IDA board needs time to review this, and we would expect that we'll have a robust discussion at a later meeting where we will review our proposal in more detail. So with that as intro, I'm going to review the proposal at a 50,000 foot level. Again, we don't really expect to get any comments or questions today. The purpose is just to give you, in summary fashion, some background as to what we were thinking and how we were thinking in terms of structuring the proposal. Our thought process actually starts with how we organize the proposal in the first place. We have at the beginning part of the proposal a description of the benefits, because while we think there's been a lot of focus on the IDA abatements and the IDA inducements that are potentially available here, we don't want to lose focus or lose track of the fact that there are significant benefits being provided by the project applicant in connection with the undertaking of the project, and they are, as described in our proposal, very significant. So if you go to page 1 of our proposal, at the bottom, we list the benefits one after the other, starting with a significant private capital investment of approximately $14 million in the city of Hudson, which compares very favorably to, by way of size, to any project having been undertaken in the city, a private sector project being undertaken in the city over the last 10 years. The project number 2, the project's going to be locally owned and operated and professionally managed. This is not an out-of-town entity coming in. David has moved into the community. He's a resident of the city of Hudson, and so this is locally owned and locally operated. Item 3 on the top of page 2. David, as has been described in his bio to you, previously submitted to you, he has a significant career in real estate development. And during that career, he developed relationships with many professionals, legal, engineering, and others. And he did not bring that team with him to this project. He's using local professionals, local teams to help him put together this project. And I think that indicates just his focus and his bent with respect to this project. Similarly, as described in item 4, while he hasn't selected a construction manager yet, he expects that construction manager is going to commit to the consideration of hiring local workers, local laborers in connection with the undertaking of the project. And that fits into this whole local focus of the project. Item 5 is an issue that we've discussed extensively with the IDA board, and that is commitments with respect to permanent employment and commitments with respect to local employment. Our commitment with respect to total employment is 30 FTEs, And our commitment with respect to local employment is 14 FTEs from the city of Hudson. And we've made that point several times at prior meetings. And David and I have discussed the issue extensively. You'll note that one of the comments that we made in one of the earlier meetings is that the city of Hudson is a relatively small city, approximately 6,000 residents. Hiring, retaining, training 14 FTEs is not going to be an easy a lift for us, but we're committing to that, and that commitment will be contained in the IDA documents once we get to the point of IDA closing. In connection with those job levels, and this is itemized in item 6, is we've committed to the following with respect to that hiring and related activities with respect to those local jobs. Local listing for jobs, local job fairs for hiring, coordination with the local community college regarding hiring and training. And this was an issue that the IDA chair discussed with us, internal training programs at the facility to continue the professional development of the workers that we've hired and retain at the facility. We're committing to that. And then lastly, you'll note in item E, hiring an intern from a program at the local community college. And David has already had discussions with staff at the community college with respect to those issues, or that issue in particular. Lastly, item 7, and that's at the bottom of page 2 and the top of page 3, there's significant local benefits by way of revenues to the city in connection with the operation and the construction of the project. We note that there'll be sales tax revenues generated from hotel operations, and we note that number approximately $22,000. We note that there'll be sales taxes generated from outside spending. When people come and visit the facility, they will patronize businesses in the community, and that patronage and that local spending will result in sales tax revenues being generated. Local lodging taxes, and again, there's a hotel tax in the city of Hudson, and those numbers are derived. There's footnotes at the bottom of the page. Those numbers are derived from estimated revenues to be generated at the facility. And then lastly, parking revenue. We'll be securing parking permits from the city, and that's an estimate along with an escalator with respect to the dollars to be generated by the facility for the benefit of the city of Hudson. Item 8 aggregates those numbers and also includes the estimated pilot payment during the year 2024, which is when we expect to reach the level of stabilization. So you'll see that in 2024, the dollars generated at the facility to directly benefit the local municipalities, including the city of Hudson, is over $230,000. And as I indicated earlier, those commitments with respect to jobs and training and coordination with the local community college will be outlined and contained in a clawback agreement to be entered into with the IDA. So there'll be a contractual obligation with respect to those commitments and the level of commitments. So that's our description of the IDA benefits. With respect to the IDA benefits to the local due to the project, the undertaking of the project. With respect to the request from us to undertake the project and the assistance that we're going to need with respect to undertaking the project, we've touched briefly in the past with you about sales tax. We've touched briefly with you about the mortgage recording tax. What we've been focusing on for the past couple of months is a proposal to you outlining what we would propose by way of assistance in the form of real property tax assistance. And we've been working on that for several months now, and I guess the starting point for you is, why has it taken us this long to put together a proposal for this? And I think what you need to do is note that in order to come up with a proposal for you, we would need, and we needed, an estimated valuation number with respect to the project. We had extensive discussions with that with Michael. He was very helpful in terms of providing us some guidance and back and forth with respect to what the valuation of the facility would be. And ultimately what took place was that the IDA hired an appraiser. That appraisal report was delivered in June, delivered to the IDA, and that was the number that we used in calculating our proposed pilot proposal for you. The other issue that we needed to struggle with in connection with coming up with this structure was recognizing that the existing real property tax payment on that project site is approximately $41,000. That is a substantial amount of money. And to be honest, if we had a clean sheet, we wouldn't start a proposal at that level. However, we recognize that that would create some issues for the IDA. And so as we put together our structure, we started at that level just so that there's no diminution of the existing revenues being generated at the site with respect to local property taxes. So when you look at our pilot schedule attached, or I'm sorry, included in the proposal, you'll see that we start at approximately that number, which is a recognition on our part that we didn't want to go below that and create any issues for the IDA. The next part that we had to consider in connection with putting together the pilot structure was we needed commercial finality or commercial certainty, yes, with respect to the pilot structure. And when we looked at other pilot agreements entered into locally, we noted that while there's only one, it's the WIC. The WIC does use a fixed payment structure, and that addressed that commercial certainty issue that we needed and we need in connection with our planning and budgeting for the project. Lastly, we also spent some time looking at the IDA's Uniform Tax Exemption policy. And we noted that your normal UTEP starts at 50% and then jumps 5% a year. And so we use that at least as a starting point with respect to our structure. We ultimately arrived at a 50% number, with that number adjusting 10% every other year. So we did term it out slightly longer by way of the jumps, but we stayed within essentially a 10-year program, and we started at 50%. So the summary 4 points here with respect to our structuring of the pilot was that we needed an assessed value number. We looked at similar projects. We looked at your UTEP number, and we started with the real property tax number that you are currently receiving with respect to the project site. With that, if you look at page 4 of the proposal, you'll see that outlines the pilot payments to be made, and it compares them to what is currently being paid by the WIC. And again, we use that so that you'll have something by way of comparison as we get together in the near future to go through these materials in more detail. So with that, again, that's a 50,000-foot explanation of what our thinking was and what elements we used to bring to bear to come to put together this structure for you. And we look forward to meeting with you in the very near future to go over this in more detail and hopefully reach some sort of resolution so that we can move forward with respect to the scheduling of a public hearing and moving forward on the closing of the IDA transaction. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know if you had any clarification questions or if you'd like to ask the board members if they did.
Well, thank you, Michael. I would like to ask the board first to see if they have any questions. And if you do have any questions, just say your name and your question because I can't see everyone that is on.
Rebecca Wolf, I have a question.
Please.
Sorry, I'm bouncing between screens to try to find my notes. Can you explain what means a clawback agreement with regards to the benefits representing an actual contractual commitment? I'm just wanting to understand how if the sales figure, the sales tax figures, and the other kinds of figures that are listed above that statement, actually, I don't understand how that could be part of a contractual commitment. Exactly.
Right. And I'll start and then David can jump in. Our understanding based on our review of your policies and the just very, very preliminary, and I'll say that one more time, very preliminary discussions with your counsel, is that the clawback provisions would deal with job numbers and the items described on page 2 under item 6.
Okay.
But with respect to the levels, the actual levels of sales tax collection and parking revenues, and I mean that's all a matter of operation of law. Obviously, if we have $10 million of revenue, you're going to collect a certain amount of sales tax. If we have $2 million of revenue, you're going to collect a certain amount of sales tax. That's all a matter of operation of law, and candidly outside our control. But
right.
Issues within our control, hiring, local hiring, job fairs, training. Mr. Kessler has, stated in prior meetings that those are issues that he recognized that are important to the IDA, and that we're willing to commit to here.
Thanks. That is what I assumed was true. I just wanted to make sure that I understood that.
Sure.
I have
Sure.
2 more things. What exactly is commercial certainty? Is that all right?
Well, we can I wanted to give everyone an opportunity as well. So just keep that in mind when you ask your next 2 questions, please.
Okay, sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you mean me go ahead now? Yes. What is commercial certainty?
David, do you want to start with that, or did you want me to do that?
It's being able to. I mean, you can start, and I can chime in when.
Sure. The issue there, Ms. Wolf, is that we've proposed in our proposal a fixed payment structure, and what that does is provide us with a certain level of certainty as to what the costs are going to be with respect to the project. It was a similar structure used for the WIC, and it essentially is what it says it is. It provides certainty with respect to what, in effect, the real property taxes are going to be in the form of pilot payments on an annual basis during the period of time that we have the pilot agreement with the IDA. Mm-hmm. It's something that obviously helps us in planning issues and financing issues, and again, we're trying to point to other situations that have been used in the city of Hudson, and that's why we've referred a couple times to the WIC, that it gives the IDA, we think, and we hope, some comfort with respect to following a similar course with respect to this transaction. But that's what we mean by commercial certainty, that the numbers will be fixed during the term of the financing, during the term of the IDA project.
Can I just, what would be the alternative to them being fixed? What would be the metric, or like the changing metric?
Well, and I don't want to, I've got to be careful because I'm representing Mr. Kessler, and I understand from that Ms. Shaw is not there today. So
Let me, let me jump in, Joe.
Yep.
Joe.
Okay, great. Yep.
Basically, the assessed value, when you take a schedule of assumptions and put in an assessed value, and then you put in assumptions related to the tax rate over a similar 10 years, and you come up with a number in that calculation as a model, and you lock into that as fixed payments. What you're taking out of the equation is increases over time or decreases in the assessed value or the tax rate based on future conditions. There could be conditions where the assessment would drop because of economic uncertainty or situations. There could be situations where the tax rate is flat for a year and then only goes up 1% the next year instead of whatever assumption you used in the fixed model. It results in taking risk on both sides. So again, you would want to look at what assumptions the fixed model was based on. I know that banks, particularly with hotel properties, are concerned about recognizing that in Hudson right now, at least, I think we're looking at below a 50% average occupancy rate because of the extensive activity on weekends and holidays, not so much during the week. But again, the certainty is taken out by taking reasonable assumptions and agreeing to them as fixed numbers versus riding the up and down of assessed value and tax rates.
Can I just ask another related question? I'm sorry. And let me know if...
And Ms. Wolf,
Hold on,
if you don't mind.
So we can give the other board members an opportunity.
Yep.
And Chair, do you mind if I just elaborate 1 second on Mr. Tucker's answer? Because I thought it was very good, but the one point I would like to make is that the certainty actually exists on both sides. The municipalities now know what they're going to get in the future, and also it generally takes away the issue of challenges of assessment because people know what the numbers are and frankly have agreed on the numbers. So it eliminates the challenges that may take place during the term of a pilot agreement by the project applicant with respect to the assessed value, and it eliminates that potential litigation cost on the part of the municipalities.
Right.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board members?
Yeah, this is Heather. I have a couple questions.
Go on, Heather.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you could hear me. So I understand that you would like to have a fixed dollar amount, but that doesn't necessarily preclude putting in escalation assumptions for both the tax rate and the assessment. You can still end up with a fixed rate. I noticed that you have no escalation rates on either. And I think my question primarily is, what is going to happen in year 12 when your assessment is significantly higher and the tax rate is going to be significantly higher than what's in your model for year 11, and your tax is going to increase substantially? Have you given any consideration to trying to model something out that will get you closer to where you will be in year 12 over the course of the pilot? Because to me, that seems like a significant risk.
David, do you want to address that one? Or is that something that we should reserve?
I think we need to think about. I think we need to discuss that. Can we come back to you on that item? The valid
Yes.
question.
Sure.
Thank you. Heather, your next question?
No, I summed it all into one. That's pretty much it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Just one last question from me. Rebecca, sorry. I just wanted to know if the assessment value in the actual pilot proposal is the one after the reevaluation that Hudson just had?
It's based on the assessed value that the appraiser came to, and that appraiser was hired by the IDA.
Right.
Actually, actually, it was
Is that
hired.
your question?
Actually, the report was paid for by CEDC as part of its administrative role in providing services to the IDA, and
Okay,
it
I
was
misspoke,
the
sorry.
result. It was the result of as everyone who has reviewed the report recalls, of the current assessed values of hotel properties in the city. If they put double the assessed value in that report, or they and it was challenged in court, the court would be looking towards what the other hotels in town are looked at. So, it is a proxy because the hotel isn't opened yet, and the hotel won't be open for 2 years and or a year and a half. So there were certainly assumptions made in preparing that report, but that report is as a completed 50-room hotel project, not as a vacant 25-room house.
Mhm.
Correct.
And
Thank you.
thanks.
Any other board members have any questions? John, Mayor? Okay.
None from me.
Is there anything else with the
Madam
presentation?
Chair, I only wanted to again have those of you, most of this, unfortunately, this information, both from the pilot perspective and the information from HDC, was only received in the last 12 or 15 hours. But I did think it was very interesting that the work that was done by HDC said that each hotel room in the city provides $32,000 of spin-off revenue on for meals and shopping and other activities each year. And if you multiply by that by 50, that's $1.5 million or $1.6 million. If you cut that in half, it's still $800,000. So, I think that once we take this information and have the group in Rochester that runs the cost benefit analysis on what the developer is requesting, you'll get a better sense of what the multiples of benefit this causes as it relates to the value of what you're being asked to provide to the development of the project. So I think, it's way too early to determine whether this is good, bad, or indifferent, but I think it's with all that we've gone through with COVID slowdown and shutdown to get to a point now where the project has continued to go through the appropriate city regulatory review process and get to a point where this agency now can have a better feel for whether what opportunity there is here to improve the city's tax revenue over time, and whether it wants to participate in providing incentives to this project. So I think that it's been a long and tedious time, and I appreciate the extra meetings that each of you have participated in, and hopefully we will be able to go through some of the questions, have counsel and other professionals provide input to you, and look forward to, when you look at it, I've been here 5 years and I haven't seen a $10 million plus project in Columbia County, let alone in the city. The WIC was about 8.5, and that was about as close as we've gotten to it. There is a $10 million distillery project that's been in the works for 2 or 3 years. There's some proposed expansion at the Hudson Valley Creamery, but that's in the $4 to $5 million range. And then, of course, the work at the fish farm. But again, when we look at the relative, the sales tax and the lodging tax numbers in the HDC report, makes us realize that whether we like it or not, tourism is a strong component of the region's economy, and particularly the city. And to be able to develop some training programs and the like in partnership with other businesses in this arena, I think has some attraction. But obviously, you'll need to review the numbers carefully and weigh all of the factors that go into the decision making that the agency has the responsibility to make. So I'm pleased that we've gotten to this point, and I think there'll be opportunities to have continued dialogue and discussion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you all. And thank you for your presentation. If there isn't anything else, may I ask for an adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All
I'll
right.
second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
For the sake of the minutes, just because Lisa can hear us and we can't hear her, the person who made the introduction for the motion, for the adjournment, please state your name.
Heather Campbell, motion to adjourn.
And the person who's second, please.
Kamal Johnson, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Thank you all
opposed?
very much. Have a great day.
Great day. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have
Bye,
a good
everybody.
afternoon. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Oswaldo.
Thank you.